We got Crews-Dezurn versus Shadasia Green tonight. Well, we're going to talk about it tonight. We got it this weekend. We got Haney, who looked really impressive against Prograis. Jake Paul continues his career. All this and much, much more coming up on Tough Talk Tuesday.
I told.
This is the show that has hosted everyone from Sugar Ray Leonard to Keith One-Time Thurman. This is Tough Talk Tonight, brought to you by Heavy Bag Boxing.
We have another episode of Tough Talk Tuesday. As always, I'm your host, Lucas Biggers. Alongside me, I got a crew today. Robert Alexander, James and Sakura. How's it going, guys?
Really good.
I guess I'm getting in the Christmas spirit, being that the coldest came to Florida, guys.
It's not cold there. It's not cold.
Quiet.
It's Florida.
It's cold to me. That's what's important.
You come up here, you really be freezing.
Oh, no. I know what time of year to come to you guys. It ain't.
What's it like where you are, Lucas?
Right now, in the mornings, it's like 26. It peaks maybe at 44 if you're lucky, on a good day.
Yikes.
Wow.
That's nasty.
Yeah.
That is.
Rob, I heard you saying something before I switched to our intro. What were you saying?
I told y'all so.
Well, we're going to get into that, but first I do want to speak about some women fighting this weekend. I know I get a habit of waiting too long to talk about the women, and then we end up forgetting. I ain't forgetting tonight. We're going to talk about Franchon Crews and against Shadasia Green. Now, I want to throw this stat in there, okay, because we do talk about betting odds a lot on this show. Green is coming in as a massive minus 800 betting favorite. I mean, that's a lot. That's big. So Vegas is definitely favoring Green. Guys, are you also favoring Green? After Franchon Crews, as Sakura just said, lost?
Well, she had some good competition in her last fight. I'm not honestly too familiar with Green. I'm a little bit green, but there's one thing that Franchon Crews-Dezurn brings, and that's it. She brings it. So I'm looking for a good fight there. And that's at 154.
That's right. Middleweight.
No, 160.
No?
The 165 or something like that. It's
sure?
super middleweight. Well, I know the women's are different than the men divisions a little bit,
Okay. Mm-hmm.
But it's super middleweight.
I'm trying to think of the opponent in her last fight. That's Franchon Crews-Dezurn. I don't remember her name.
Savannah Marshall.
Yes. Thank you.
That's right.
Got boxed a little bit there. So hopefully she bounces back.
It is for two vacant titles. A vacant WBC super middleweight title and a WBA interim super middleweight title.
Well, Savannah had to win that fight against her to get that lucrative fight she got against Claressa Shields. So Savannah was highly motivated in that fight to beat Crews. Crews, in my opinion, in a lot of people's opinion, could be considered a gatekeeper. I know Shakira is gonna say that diminishing her skill set, so to speak, by calling her that, but that's really what she's being considered. But I'm with James though. I don't know much about Shadasia Green to be saying that that's so much of a favorite that I would want to take that bet. Now, what that saying is to bet to gain $100, just $100, you're gonna have to put up 800. You know what I'm saying?
You looking at it like betting odds. What's the odds?
Just to gain $100, you're gonna have to put up $800 to win that fight. That's crazy to me, male or female. And I don't know much about Shadasia Green to call it that.
I'm about to tell you, Shadasia Green is who they are now saying is the new Ann Wolf of the females. So
And what-
there's a lot of comparisons to Ann Wolf. Ann Wolf was actually in her corner and came out with her in her last fight, which was out in Houston on Jake Paul's card.
Okay, that was the girl who had Ann Wolf in her. Okay,
Yeah.
so then I have seen her before then, but correct me if I'm wrong. No, Shakira Crews brings it too, though. Crews can bring that same type of fight.
Crews was the dominant main champion for years. Basically, Franchon is the one that fought the Hernandez chick that ended up having the pegs in her system.
No, that was Jimenez. Her last
Yes, Jimenez.
Alexander Jimenez.
And
Kind of talked a little funny.
yes. And Crews beat her. Like, she really still beat her, but she didn't get the decision. But they ended up, the WBC gave her title back once they realized that basically Franchon had just been in there with
a man. Yeah, a man. Let's be honest. She was in there fighting a man.
That's where it was going. Rob just said, "I'm going to jump that line."
Yeah, I'm going to be allegedly,
Franchon Crews put some leather on that Jimenez.
Yes, she did.
Some serious leather, and did not. It's like hitting a tree trunk.
Yes, and she said, "I knew something was wrong right away because he's known for power." And when she hit her with what is a favorite hook of hers, there was no response. So she felt like right then that she was dealing with something else.
Well, when Franchon Crews hit somebody,
then Franchon Crews went on to fight Savannah Marshall after Savannah Marshall had fought Claressa Shields. So Claressa Shields' fight came before.
Okay.
Yes, and Franchon continued to keep her belts all that time. So she was a reigning champion before she was dethroned by Savannah Marshall, who came to win that night. I don't think that was the best version of Franchon that we saw that night, but she is a little bit. She's been in the field so long that she is, we're wondering whether or not it's the age coming into play with her or not. But this would be a great fight because Shadasia Green is known for power and Franchon is known for power. And they are at super middleweight status. So, it's going to be, all hands. Somebody's going to get KO'd, I believe. I don't believe this is a type of fight that's going to really last 12 rounds, even though Franchon lasted 12 rounds against Savannah.
So you said that Shadasia Green fights a little bit like Ann Fox. Is that it?
And Wolf. And Wolf, yeah, the boxing community is comparing her to Ann Wolf. I think from seeing like 2 of her fights so far, I haven't looked at a plethora of fights, but I feel like her skill level is a little bit more pronounced than Ann Wolf's was. Okay. So, just to put it in context, but it's going to be a great fight to watch, guys. You guys, whether you want to watch Jake Paul or not, that he's finally fighting a real boxer, as so many, of the pundits had basically been saying he should fight. So, damn, them haters is real quiet right now, by the way. But this is the co-main event, and it's an amazing fight, and it's going to be a banger for women.
What'd you say?
I'm a hater.
I'm a hater. Me too. We're gonna get to that though. We're gonna get to that. I'm gonna admit to it, but first I do want to speak on the Franchon Crews versus Shadasia Green. Look, you got to know a couple stats. One of which is Franchon Crews is already known for power, right? Her KO ratio is 25%. Shadasia Green is a massive 84.62. That's really all I need to hear. Plus, she got Ann Wolf. In the corner. That's all I need to know. That's going to be a good fight. I mean, anywhere Airwolf is, automatically assume it ain't going the distance. You check Shadisha's screen KO ratio plus that. I mean, their style clash.
It's a little deceiving.
KO.
It's the record. The percentage is a little deceiving because Franchon has way more fights, I believe, than Franchon. Than Shadasia has.
She actually has less. Shadish screen 13-0. Franchon Crews is 8-2.
Wow. Oh, so they done snuck some fights in. Okay.
Yeah. So I mean,
well, that's surprising to me. But I do still feel like Franchon has the Olympic pedigree, whereas Shadasia Green is not as experienced as Franchon, even though it is showing she has more fights right now.
Right. That power's the equalizer, though. I mean, that's we know that. Let's continue on to the main event, though. Let's talk about Jake Paul continuing his career against Andre August. I have been yelling at this man since he started this shit to just fight some regular boxer, right? he's finally doing it. So I will give him props for that. Guys, what do you think about Jake Paul actually boxing? I mean, we're not talking about celebrity boxing anymore. He's actually going to be boxing.
Well, he did it before, right? Wasn't it him that fought Tommy Fury?
Yeah, I would consider that one still.
No, Tommy Fury.
Somewhat celebrity boxing. I mean, come on. Now he fought KSI too. I'm going to consider him still celebrity boxing. Sorry.
Tommy Fury has a better record a better name, I would say, in boxing than Andre August.
Exactly.
So I would say, and he fought him close. He did fought him close, and he dropped Tommy Fury. So yes, Lucas, to answer your question, he is fighting a boxer, but is he really fighting a good boxer? That's the question. That's the question we need to look at. Is he fighting a good enough boxer in this matchup? I don't think he is. He's dropped some of the top names in MMA, and I think he'll be able to drop this guy and make it actually easy, Lucas.
You talk about names in MMA. You're talking about names that have retired in MMA. You ain't talking about any current MMA people. You ain't talking about nobody that's even been like within the last 4 or 5 years. Nobody worth a damn.
Woodley was a big name. Okay.
That's a name, though. And you're still boxing an MMA fighter.
Man, I have whiskey on deck. I always do. Plenty of liquor this way, if that's what you're asking, sir. But no, I feel like what we're not going to do is come on this show and diss Jake Paul, okay? And what he's done for this sport. He's done a lot. He's doing more than what the current boxers are giving us in terms of show, in terms of
I finally gave this man props. And you talking about I shouldn't, basically.
I'm saying that you should give him props.
Now you're saying I should. No, James, didn't he just say, well, no, you shouldn't get props for fighting Andre August? No, which one is it, Rob?
You should have been gave him props. You should have been gave him props. That's what I'm saying. You should have been gave him props.
There's something else there, though, is that you mentioned, he's fighting a no-name. I mean, that's pretty much the way boxing works. You start off with a no-hoper, and the 0-1s and 0-2s and 0-3s and 0-4s, and that's where you start, and you work your way up. That's exactly what he's doing, and that's, I can't fault him for taking that route. It's just the way boxing works.
No, this is the route I want him to take. This is what I've been saying, and Robbie, that's what I was saying, and then
I'm sorry, Lucas. I'm sorry. You're right. You're right. I'm giving you props. I'm giving you props for giving him that, but you should have did it earlier. You should have did it sooner.
Look, I'm saying. Tommy Fury is still celebrity boxing to me,
but I don't count that. I think that's legit boxing, and he dropped the guy. I'm just saying, I think that he can drop this guy easily. and he can have a easier victory path in this fight than what he did even against Tommy Fury and the other guys that he fought. Back to what you were trying to say is these MMAers or these MMA names that he took on that are past their prime. I feel like Lamar Woodley was a very well-known MMA fighter at the time that he fought him, and he beat him twice. So I don't feel like he's taking on old guys. I think he took on a lot of names that were out there, no boxing names. Tommy Fury was a step in the right direction. He lost. And now with Andre August here, I feel like this is definitely a step in the right direction, but I feel like this is even lesser competition, and he'll be able to stylistically walk through this guy. That's what I'm saying.
Rob, you're saying that, but at the same time, you also said you don't know anything about Andre August, so you can't say that and actually have any kind of.
No, I'm saying we know more about those.
You don't. You're talking about MMA, right?
As
you're
what you were saying, we know more about
boxing, stepping into a ring and
we can't say that. You can't say that they don't know enough about boxing.
Look, MMA is a completely different sport. Let's not sit here and just say just because they can hang in a different combat sport that they can box. But we're getting way off topic because we're agreeing and disagreeing at the same time. That's what I don't understand. So
Rob is on the defensive, right?
He's really defending Jake Paul's his new best friend, apparently.
My thing is like everybody was saying, "Oh, I wish he fought a real boxer," and then they said Tommy Fury didn't count, and now we're to someone that he should be. This is actually an opponent that someone with his record would be actually fighting in our professional boxing sport. This guy, August, let's see, he has 10 wins, 5 of which are knockouts, and he has 1 loss. He was knocked out once. So this is the kind of record that you would expect somebody with Jake Paul's record to be facing in this boxing setting. Now we can go through and we can pick fights and we can see who this guy actually fought in these 10 fights. The point is they were all professional bouts. None of the MMA, none of the celebrity stuff. This is what the purest boxing fans said they wanted to see Jake Paul doing. Guess what? He's doing it now in the month of December, which is like a holiday for millionaires. The whole month they take off usually. So, I mean, I'm giving them props. You guys, y'all are not being true to what you said you wanted. You guys, you said you wanted him to fight a professional boxer who would actually have step-ups and be on the level he should be. And this is that type of fight right here. So, I mean, the haters have quieted down some on this fight. I've noticed online. But I see that we still have some reservations amongst some of us. However.com, we're going to find out if Jake Paul is, just where he falls as far as being in his career status. Like, is he better than Andre August, with 10 wins and 5 KOs? Or is he below that in skill level? So, this is a good scrap, right? We're gonna see. Right now, I'm looking at a co-main and a main event, and both of them are gonna be great scraps.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, enough about Andre again to say that he's gonna blow him out or anything like that. I'm with you wholeheartedly, Sakura. I think I'm looking forward to just seeing where exactly in the boxing world he really is. This is a real fighter. This isn't somebody who's just living off a name. Rob. This is somebody who's a boxer that is flying under the radar. This isn't somebody that's just worth a ton of money. You know what I mean? This is somebody that we will actually be able to see what kind of skill he's going to be up against. Well, and it is quite exciting.
Here's the thing, is people didn't really know Rafael Espinoza before his fight this last weekend either. Right?
That's right.
Against Robisi. People didn't know him. However, people know him now. It didn't mean he wasn't a great fighter. did it. Just because we haven't had the privilege and honor to be given access to some of these boxers, it doesn't mean that they're not out there and they don't exist.
That's true.
But I gotta say, you mentioned that Espinosa's great. So
Well, I mean, yeah.
We'll get to that.
And he had, but I just want to say he had a great.
I know what you want to say.
Great enough to upset an Olympian is what I'm saying.
Good fighter.
Great enough. I'm saying great enough to not be overlooked. Great enough that people didn't know him before, but he actually fought an Olympian and won. Great enough that his name is in the conversation now. Not just critique. I'm not just, critiquing his actual performance right now.
So here's my take on this, though, is and a lot of times you see guys, you see different things come to a fight, and you say to yourself, okay, that made a world of difference. Example, what Shakur is saying, where we have this Espinosa come out of nowhere. Nobody really knew who he was, and he actually proved to be a great fighter Saturday night. Ebane Bridges, another scenario where she fought a last minute, and we see this a lot, where she fought a last minute opponent, wasn't really prepared. She lost the fight. I believe
Yoshida badass though. Yoshida was being slept on a lot.
I believe at this point in Jake Paul boxing career, as long as he has an opponent who he knows he's up against, he's able to prepare for and get in the ring with, and there's an expectation level that he knows what this person's going to bring. I feel like he can beat that guy. So in Andre August, that's what I believe is going to happen here. I don't believe there's going to be no surprise to him. He's going to be very well prepared, Lucas. You're going to be shocked. But the man is always prepared in these fights, very well prepared. He's going to be very well prepared, and he's going to be able to do what he's supposed to do and take this fighter out.
Javi, I really want your take on this because, I mean, we are the ones that kind of beat Jake Paul up more than the rest. And you've kind of done a 180 as well. You're I wouldn't say you're on the Jake Paul bandwagon, but you're getting there, right? You're at least watching it from afar.
The GOAT. We're talking about the GOAT. If we're talking about the GOAT, then I mean, honestly, I feel like Jake Paul is the perfect example of having the means, having the leverages for you to come in and show like the nasty business side of boxing. I mean, I'm not gonna take away that the kid is improving his training. I see some improvement of definitely. I gotta give it to him for doing what he does. Mm-hmm. So I guess that's what you're saying, that what my 180 comes from. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's like it's like a hit or miss for me now, because sometimes he does stuff like that is beneficial for the sport. He's some way somehow with all the circus and all the clownish shit that he bring into it. Sometimes you need that. That's what sells nowadays, and he's providing it. I mean, I have learned to accept it. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, sometimes the bullshit that comes with boxing, that we all the judges, the refs, the scoring and all these shenanigans that comes with it, that we accept it, that we have learned to live with it years after years after years. Then you know what? I can live with this Jake Paul thing. You know what I'm saying? I don't know about his opponent much, but I know for a fact that you pretty much can build a record some way somehow, and he has. I feel like he has worked himself. I feel like he has worked himself into some type of skill level that he can compete with a lower level than that, and be able to look good and be able to look legit, like a legit fighter, a legit boxer. So I feel like that's what's happening. I feel like he's trying to like now actually get people that are, with box rag or something, the register and see maybe he's not too far. Guy, like I said, this guy exploit the business side of it. So I wouldn't be surprised if he gets ranked after fighting a few of them guys and goes for some type of belt and becomes something, actually like a champion or like intercontinental champion in Reese's, whatever this WBC. The WBC is the first one that's gonna give up that belt, and you know why? They're like Uncle Sam. There's like the WBC is like Uncle Sam for us. They won the 30%. They won the 40%. They won the second piece, and they're gonna get down with the circus.
Every time, I already know what you're gonna say every time. all your comments, they lead right there to WBC. I don't know how. All the rest titles.
If you got a fan base, WBC is waiting. Like, give me that.
Yeah. It's in the background, and he got to dangle it. But there's some other sanctioning bodies out there too.
Right, but I'm telling you guys, the WBC. The WBC is Uncle Sam. They want when there's money, they want to be in it. You know what I'm saying? If there's money, they want to be in it. They want the percentage.
Money. I mean, the sport is designed to make money now. Like,
if you know how to play the buttons, because not everybody in the sport is making money. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I mean, it's like the money's reserved for those that they can bring some type of leverage into it. The kid, like I said, I mean, he made some $1 million purses within his second fight. There's legit champions out there, guys that have been fighting their whole life, ton competition, international competition, amateur and pro level. They never seen those type of purses. So I cannot take away that from him. He's leveraged that to his favor, and he can, like, if everybody's draining the sport and he want to drain it a little bit, go ahead. I mean, everybody's getting a piece of the cake.
Everybody's draining it, but however.com, he's one that's investing back in it. And nobody can deny that some of that money is being filtered back in there. Especially the last fight in Orlando, which is now like most valuable promotions, is helping put Orlando, Central Florida on the map with Crews-Dezurn and this box lab. So you gotta just let it be known that some of that money is being filtered back in, especially when it comes to the women in the sport. I mean, and that's no easy feat, because there's a lot of people that's against women being able to make and earn a decent living in the sport. So, I mean, what I like about Jake Paul is he ain't just rolling out of his bed and gonna go get in the ring and make money off Andre August. No, he's working hard. He's training hard. If you don't believe it, you can just go on social media and they show him working out daily and doing different things to have high performance. So it's not like he's not like trying to work hard and living that boxer lifestyle. That he's doing those things. So we have to give people some kind of credit when they are trying to put in the work. It's not his fault that he's highly favored and he's able to come into the industry and make money, bring in his own fan base in. Like, it's not even like he's making a lot of money off like older boxing fans or, the old school purist type of boxing fans. He's making money, those type of figures, by bringing in his own fan base he already had. I mean, so like this weekend, apparently there's going to be 5,000. There's 5,000 seats sold out. Serrano was 2,500 seats. That's a lot of seats, guys, for Central Florida, just in comparison. So I mean, that's revenue that's being generated and brought to Central Florida.
Yeah. There's no denying that Jake Paul's done some good, but I think this fight's going to be more under a microscope more than any of his others. Make sure everything's on the up and up. He's had some questionable things in the past. I don't know. I'm looking just forward to see if this is actually going to be a regular boxing career, because let's face it, Jake Paul also knows how easily corrupt the sport is. He's mentioned it before. So hopefully he doesn't take advantage of said corruption. But let's put it this way, okay? We already know how things work. He's got to win, and Andre August has to win by a lot more. He's got to do a lot more than Jake Paul already does, and that's already a disadvantage, right? But I digress.
It's do or die. You better go in there with that same mentality that Espinoza had this past weekend. You got because he had I'm giving it all I got. Yeah. I don't care if I die in this ring tonight. That's the kind of mentality you got to have when you go in there and you're fighting. You're up against the engine. I call it the engine.
Let's go into that, Lucas. Let's go into that now, because she got me wanting to talk about that now.
Go for it, Rob. Go for it.
You know, this weekend, what Shakur is talking about, of course, on ESPN fights on the main event card, we had Robisky Ramirez versus Espinoza. Ramirez was heavily favored in this fight. Lucas, did you put up that fight odds last weekend for this fight? I think
I don't think for this one though.
You didn't? Okay. It was highly favored for Ramirez. He was the top dog in this fight, Shakura. Mm-hmm. And I believe he was the one you were definitely expecting to win this fight. Yes. From what they're saying, he was supposed to be expected to win this fight and then possibly fight Monster that early next year, right?
Already built in for him to be able to fight the Monster sometime next year. But I did get suspicious when they say last minute replacement. You know what I'm saying? Like now you like, oh shoot.
So here's the thing. Yep. Here's the thing. To me, last minute replacement is one thing, but Ramirez took the fight to him early on. He had him knocked down early in the fight. Ramirez did.
That was nasty.
He had him knocked down early in the fight. What Shakur was alluding to, though, is what I want people to pay attention to. If they haven't saw this fight, you need to go back and see it. It was one of the great featherweight fights that I've seen in a long time. You
don't watch them down there, right?
Espinoza did exactly what you would want a fighter to do when they're behind in a fight, and that's to say, pardon my French for lack of better terms, fuck it. Fuck it. I'm going out on my shield. Either he's going to have, like Shakur said, he didn't just say, I'm going to get knocked out. No, because he could have. He almost did, right, Shakur? He almost did. He said, you're going to have to kill me. Right. That's the way he fought throughout the rest of that fight is you're going to have to kill me. I think he threw over 1,000, if not 1,000 shots in that fight. And it took every bit of those shots because Ramirez felt them. He definitely felt them. He definitely buckled. And he himself went down in the 12th, which is what I believe the judges saw being the deciding factor in that fight.
They had to. They were going to look like crap if they didn't give him that fight, dog. Because, I mean, the tide just changed in the last 3 rounds. It was like a sweep. Now, part of that was Ramirez that was kind of like coasting, you know. Like,
no, he was trying to coast.
I mean, what I'm saying is he thought he had everything already, you know, in place for the win, which is something you cannot do in this sport. You cannot think you got everything in place, especially when the knockdown happened earlier in the fight, you know, was in the first half. So, you know, he made that critical mistake. And I know why he was so hurt. But I mean, if guys, can you imagine if he'd have just been like, with the same mentality through the end of the fight that he had in the beginning of the fight? That, I mean, it's already like a fight of the year contender for me. I mean, but if he'd have had that same fire in him towards the end of the fight that Espinosa had, that would have been like number one on my list for fight of the year. Right now, I got Chantel and Taylor as my fight of the year, but I mean, it was right up there with that.
I hold her. Oh, go ahead, James.
Sorry, Lucas, but no, I saw that as a close fight. It was a very close fight. One of the judges, I thought, had it right, and he had it like split right down the middle, so he had it even, and that's the way I scored it. But you know, you have a knockdown in the last round. Generally, you don't lose. Generally, you're going to get a good victory out of that one. Mm-hmm. And this was one of those fights. But I got to say, what I saw in Espinosa is a fighter that needs to correct a lot of things. There's still a lot of Navarrete in him. Mm-hmm. There's some pit bull in him. There's, you know, he's got all these different fighters that he's channeling. And so, you know, the fact is that he's kind of switching. And he's getting hit when he's switching.
Yeah, that's what happened. You're right.
Do not switch like that, because that's a death. If you got a really, really good, smart fighter against you, that's the end of you. And he went down. And you know what? I got to tell you, he's really lucky that fight wasn't stopped, because when he got up, he fell against the ropes again, face first. Right? You guys saw that?
I don't remember that.
He got from that knockdown. Walked towards the ref, maybe tripped over the ref's feet. I'm not sure if or tripped over his own feet, but fell against the ropes face first. Generally, if you get up and you fall down again, you're disqualified. I think
depending. That's referee's discretion, James. I saw it, but I
would have stopped this fight.
Well,
but refs now is like, who want to be responsible for stopping that fight with all that action going on right there?
Referee's defense,
you know?
the clapper, the 10-second clapper had gone off, so there was only like 1 or 2 seconds left.
Right, it was a few seconds left.
You have one of those Richard Steele decisions where it's like, do I stop this? Do I let it go? Whatever. You let it go because it was like 1 or 2 seconds, and that was it.
Like saved by the bell, you know. But he was literally saved by the bell.
He was this far from losing it. And you know what?
It's a good ref.
Well,
thank you. Listen, Chris Young. That's Christopher Young right there, up and coming referee. I mean, he's no longer up and coming now. He's starting to get, like, you know, some main event cards and fights, and really showing that he's you know, a neutral type of referee,
right?
Or tries to be,
which is what we need. But I got a question for Javi. Yes, sir. Good morning. Hey, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Why is it that people are switching stance like that these days? I'm seeing that more and more. He was fighting, you know, orthodox, and then he goes southpaw, and then he's like switching again. I'm like, there's no reason for this shit. Why are people doing this?
Honestly, I feel like it's like a trend or something like that. Some guys can actually make it work on their favors. Sometimes, you know, it's kind of like giving your body a break. You know, your lead hand and your lead knee. But honestly, sometimes it could be part of the game plan, or it could be something that, you know, I've seen it where it's kind of part of the game plan, and I've seen it where it's like the own coach in the corner is like, oh, what the hell? I didn't even know he was about to do that. You know, something like the fighter discretion. But I feel like if you can make it whatever you, I'm a fan of whatever you can do in the ring to make it work for you. Go ahead. Mm-hmm. But if you're gonna do some flashy shit and that's gonna cost you, you know, to lose, or, you know, it's gonna put you in a predicament where it you know, it's not in your favor, then to me it's like, really, like, what's the point of that?
Can I answer that question too, James? Because I feel like, just like people wanted to, you know, some boxers started using the shoulder roll because Floyd was, I feel like some of these boxers are trying to
Mhm.
be, be able to switch orthodox to southpaw because of Bud Crawford.
That's what I think it
Like
is,
it's like
Shakira.
a trend.
Kinda.
Like they want to be like
There's
what makes those boxers stand out. They try to use that in their
Espe-
arsenal.
Especially at these lower weights.
I gotta tell him there's only one Bud Crawford in this world.
I agree with what Javi and Sakura, everybody's saying here. It's the basketball equivalent to like dribbling it between your legs. They're trying to show off. That's all this is, I think.
Well,
And
no. Yeah.
go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I always teach my kids, you don't show off, right? You look good second, win first.
Well, what I wanted to say about that was I've only seen a few people switch, and I'm kind of sensitive to this stuff because I just am. Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. switch. So he threw a hard right, and then he'd throw a hard left and a hard right, and he would always switch, and he was always in balance. And the other guy who does it well is the monster Inoue, who's fighting like on Christmas Day or Christmas Eve or whatever. And those are about the only two people that I've seen do it right. And Inoue doesn't even do it that much. But I mean, what this guy was doing was just, it's kind of like watching Navarrete fight where he's just all over the place. Needs a lot of work. He needs work. And he's a champion now, and God bless him, and I'm happy for him. And Viva Mexico and all that stuff. But
Rematch.
you need a little polish there, my friend.
We got
James, my friend.
We gotta get that instant rematch because that's up there. Like I want to see a rematch like right away, guys. I mean, that one was tough to watch. I was happy for Espinoza, but I was sad for Ramirez at the same time. And it was just like a lot of emotion in a fight like that. And that's what the sport is really about. But I love it when a boxer like Espinoza got so much heart that he overcame all of that flaws in his skills and all of that. And he's now a champion. I like to see that because it lets you know in your own personal life that when you have trials and tribulations, you can still get through it if you are willing to fight your way through it.
Well,
and that's something that the sport of boxing teaches us almost every other fight.
Exactly. He took it. Let's just face it. Espinoza took it. And that's where I give him credit at. James, I think Shakira and Lucas and everybody are absolutely right with the switching stuff. I think Lucas said basically what Lucas is saying is it's like a new move kind of in boxing, kind of like what they do in basketball with the crossover dribble. Okay, it's fancy, it looks good. Not everybody can pull it off that well. So
it's supposed to confuse your opponent, right? That's like the real reason someone like Bud Crawford does it.
Because
like
when it works, it looks fancy, it looks good. But James, you're absolutely right though. Not everybody can do it.
Thank you. This
during switching, you get put on your ass.
This guy is goofy footed, and because he was doing it, almost lost it. He in fact got knocked down ugly. I mean, he got hit right with his hands down because he was like in no man's land because his feet weren't where they're supposed to be, simply because the lack of discipline.
Yeah, but
remember
that's the beauty of this fight. Well, that fight don't count, Lucas.
Yeah,
that fight don't count.
I mean, Ramirez, he showed that he saw that shit. Like he caught it that he was trying to switch, and he used that to his advantage. So it's a clinic as well for trainers to be able to use. Like, like, hey, this is what happens when you're trying to switch for no reason, and your opponent is like, skilled enough to see it. You're gonna get laid out, or you're gonna get seriously hurt.
It is really stupid, and it's unnecessary risk. I mean, you're not used to fighting that way. You're putting yourself in an awkward balance. You're going to get knocked down. It's not a good look. Like, if you can't do it, just don't do it. All right.
Yeah. That's
What?
true. But I'm happy for Espinoza because he did whatever he had to do because he knew that was probably or might be one of his last times to have, like that platform and to be able to get some eyeballs on him. So he took that risk. And who can be mad at that?
And he took the fight. That's the important part in this all. We can argue about schematics. James can be mad all he wants to because the fundamentals aren't there.
Right.
But he did what the Ryan Garcias need to look at and watch. He did with these other guys, with the Charlos, going up against like a Canelo. He did what these guys need to look at and watch. He took those bumps, and he still took the fight to Ramirez and won it.
He won because he got balls. But you mentioned Charlos. Charlos has got fundamentals down. Both Charlos are fundamentally sound fighters.
Yeah, this is the opposite. They just lack the balls.
Right. That's what I'm trying to say. Exactly, Lucas.
I'm just filling in. I'm just filling in the blanks, guys. I'm just filling in the blanks.
They have no marbles. They have no marbles.
Well, I gotta say, Charlos, they got the fundamentals down. They are sharp fighters. What's going on in their personal lives and so forth, and the decisions they make, I don't know. But in the ring, they are poetry in motion.
Well, they definitely have God's gifts. I mean, look, God didn't spare no kind of situation with them. I mean, they got the looks, the body type, the physique is there, the mindset is really there. When they're on. And then they were actually given the skills. They went through the amateurs and they got some of the best trainers. So it's kind of like everything was just like favored for them. So they should have fundamentals.
I don't know what happened recently. I missed a show or wasn't on it or whatever. But Jamal fought and he beat Jose Benavidez. And I guess that was a good fight. And I guess I wasn't on that show coming back from that fight. What I want to say was I hope that Jamal gets it down, gets it right, gets it fixed, and gets his career back in line and gets back to weight. Because I know he missed weight against Jose Benavidez. It was a catch weight that he missed. And I'm just hoping that Jamal gets it together and shows us what he can do. And eventually gets that fight against the big C, the can man, Canelo. Because I think that's going to be a good fight. And I think that's what we deserve as boxing fans.
Right. Yeah, for sure. We might still get that fight. And on top of that, like, I don't know if the goal was to really for him to make that weight, but the real goal was to get him physically in the ring and close to where his reign is at 60. So that was a real goal of, everybody is just let's get him back in here in the ring.
That's good. And he's back on, and he's, nothing makes me happier than to see someone figure something out, rectify a situation.
Yeah.
Come out on top. And I hope that Jamal does. And I'm changing subjects here a little bit. But I think that what we all want to see is a healthy Jamal at 168 fight Canelo and fight Benavidez and fight Morale and fight Boo Boo and fight all these fuckers.
I want to see Canelo. I want to see Canelo fight at actually 168. Okay, I'm done with bringing people up.
Canelo versus Benavidez.
Let's not bring anybody.
That's what we need to see. Okay, I'm tired of it.
See that? I don't need to see it.
Canelo versus
I don't need to see him versus anybody below 168. Look, that's all. I want to see nothing else. I want to see him beat people at 168 or above, and that includes the Charlos, both of them. But let's move on. Let's talk a little bit about
before we move on. Right, super duper quick. Your caption says impressively or etc. Robisi or what shit? Espinosa shocks.
Yeah,
Robisi Ramirez. It should say the world.
He
That's
shocks the
fair.
world.
That's fair.
Okay,
Yes.
I like it.
All right. I mean, there's no denying Haney looked impressive. You two on the bottom here right now, you got a little some explaining to do because y'all picked Prograis.
Yes, y'all do. Yes, y'all do.
You know what?
And he's
James,
gone.
get back on camera, James.
If I was you, I would pipe down, Rob, because you
But
only
man.
a prediction away from us getting on YouTube.
I mean, it wasn't
No.
just.
I want to
defeat-
hear it, Shakur. I want to hear it.
was-
Let's start with Shakur now, because this is her
Hold
boy,
on.
Prograis.
You know what?
Prograis
I
was her
love
boy.
Prograis, and I still love Prograis. And you know why? Because no matter what happened in that fight and what he figured out he was against during the fight, he did not give up. He didn't quit on the stool. He didn't say, hey, I just got, bested or whatever. He continued to try to figure it out and make a way. It wasn't his night, okay? There are reasons for that. First of all, I got to give Haney credit for his speed and the fact that he made weight and was able to fight at the 140 and came in and got a second division championship in his first fight at that weight. I mean, that's a huge accomplishment. No shade there. Now, did he get it from a smaller 140-pounder?
Smaller, he moved up.
Hold
Bigger.
the
He moved up.
I'm talking. You asked me. Let me talk now. Let me talk. So for me, here we go again with this weight bully situation. And just to prove my point, now he's already talking about 147. So, and also I gotta say, shout out to Jaleel Hackett, because he just put everybody on notice that he'll fight Haney if he want to come up there to 147. He said he's ready. I mean, and I got to give him credit because he didn't come at him left. He didn't speak out of, malice or say something negative about Haney. He just said, hey, well, I'm hearing he want to come up to 147, and I'm here waiting for him if he wants to do that. I'm here. And he was very respectful when he said it. So shout out to Jaleel Hackett. But yeah, Prograis, that's still my 140-pound man. I can't wait till he gets another title, because it's gonna happen. Okay, it's gonna happen. And the reason why is because he'll be fighting people that's more his size. And on top of it, Regis was a little bit slower than I thought he was gonna be too. Haney was fast and Prograis was slower. And I don't know if that was because he was trying to mentally figure out how he could get inside, but it worked out the way that Lucas said it would, because Lucas was the one that said, I can't imagine how he's going to be able to get inside. And that's exactly what happened. He was not able to figure out how to get inside on Haney. So congratulations to Haney and Prograis. I got your back, baby. You still my New Orleans brother from another mother.
Rob, you have the floor now. I know you got a lot to say. Okay, so I'm gonna let you have your minute.
Haney definitely, absolutely was impressive. He put it, like I told you, he was gonna put it up another notch. He was gonna give you another gear. He definitely showed us that Prograis ain't shit. Okay, Prograis ain't shit. I'm tired of y'all sitting here talking about Regis Prograis like he was a valid opponent.
This is what's wrong with
Regis Prograis wasn't
right there. This is what's wrong with American fans, Lucas. Listen, James, this is what's wrong with American fans. You have one bad performance, or you actually get beat by someone that's better than you, which, by the way, Prograis said, hey, he was better than I thought he was. He was faster than I thought he was. He didn't make up no excuses after the fight. He said that. But now Prograis,
two of y'all on this panel thought
Prograis. That's
two of y'all on this panel thought Prograis would win this fight.
American fan.
Two of y'all on this panel thought Prograis would win this fight. Even though I didn't see one lick of possibility of that happening. I don't know how you could have picked Prograis going into this fight. I don't know how you can stick with him after this fight.
Because
He
I'm
ain't
like
shit.
a fan. I'm like a UK fan, baby. I'm with you for life, dog. You're my boxer, I'm with you for life. That's how I treat my men too. I'm with him for life. If I'm down with you, I'm down with you. So you the one that like to switch up. You have no loyalty.
Okay, Rob. I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
You went with Haney, and that's all cool. That's all fine. But did you think that it would be a whooping the way it was?
Absolutely.
Oh.
Absolutely. What did I tell y'all?
We'd have to pull up last week's show because, to be honest, I cannot remember exactly how he called it. But I'm gonna look after the show. Rob.
I said there's
what did you
levels.
say?
He didn't say
said there's levels.
Lucas just got it right. You didn't say that. You didn't say how he was gonna win.
Look,
I said there's levels. I said there's levels, and Haney.
I will agree.
I absolutely said they're on different levels, and what I said is we know what Haney is made of. We've seen him in the big fights. We've seen him in the undisputed bout twice against Kambosos. We've seen him against Lomachenko. When we saw Prograis fight Josh Taylor, who I actually think ain't shit either. Wow. But when we saw him fight Josh Taylor, he lost. He didn't rise to the occasion, and he absolutely got dominated in this fight.
Lies. You're lying about the fight with Josh Taylor, first of all. But
I'm not. That's what I said. That's what I said.
No, let James talk. Let James talk. Since
I said Josh Taylor ain't shit.
James' turn. Lucas, I'm sorry. I'm taking you as the narrative.
It's very simple. Rob, did you think that it was going to be a beat down, shutdown, or just a clear win? What were you thinking?
I honestly thought Prograis would be able to get some shots in to make it to prove that he had power. I thought he was going to at least be able to do that, and then once he did that, Haney would turn up the level. In my opinion, Haney is one of those types of fighters that likes to feed off the competition. If the competition steps it up, he steps it up. If they don't and they bore you, he could make it a boring fight. So I thought he was either going to be, the competition level was that small where it was either going to be boring and an obvious Haney victory, or I thought the competition would step it up, which is what I was hoping for, and then Haney would show dominance and reach another level. It didn't matter. Haney took it upon himself and dominated this fight and showed what level he was on.
I finally agree with you on something here.
Uh-oh.
So, no, the idea is that I think
it's a little unnerving.
The headline here should read, or the caption should read, Haney shocks the world, because I don't think anyone was expecting him to fight as well as he did. Actually saw him channeling a little bit of Lomachenko with that exceptional foot there. He was super sharp. This is the best Haney's ever been. I don't know if it's the weight. I don't know if it was just the moment, or a combination of everything.
And he learned from that Lomachenko fight too. He took something. That's what happens when you fight people on your. He's learned a few more tricks from Lomachenko as well. You know what I'm saying?
That's stuff that I've not seen from Haney in the past. He's not had that kind of footwork. He certainly didn't show it against Kambosos.
Mm-hmm. But like Rob was saying, he didn't have to.
Well, no, the idea is that he was the best Haney that we've ever seen. And this is like what boxing is all about. The guy is definitely ascending in talent, in fight quality, in footwork, in power, conditioning. Everything that you can say about him is better. And
but I need to see him. I'm still need to see him fight some more people at welterweight, I believe.
Okay.
Well, but he definitely showed he had superior skill than Prograis, and but also size matters.
Well, no,
it doesn't. It doesn't. He went up in weight. He went up in weight.
You are so full of it. Here you
He
go.
went up in weight. Here
Go
we
ahead,
go with
James,
this
what you're saying.
conversation. He went up
I
in
don't
weight.
understand what you don't understand about whether he went up in weight or not. He still came in. He was the way bigger guy. What you
James,
How
don't
you
understand?
gonna say that somebody can come down and make weight
What
at one?
You're thinking your
Why you
logic.
keep muting me, Lucas?
Your logic is backwards. Like you keep talking about what Haney did, but everybody saw that he was the bigger, stronger guy in there. Like I don't know what you
Here's the question.
Let James speak.
He only moved up one division.
Here's the question.
34.
Right, but he got to rehydrate. He didn't have to drain himself anymore like he was doing at 135, and it made him stronger. It really did. I could see the difference. We all saw the difference from him draining himself and how he looked like death like the last 4 or 5 fights. He was looking terrible trying to make that 135-pound weight.
The weight ain't the question. Here's the question.
He went up in weight,
Horrible at
but he's not through going up in weight because he's still not at his actual weight.
Here's the question.
Not
The
understand.
weight ain't the question. Here's the question, James.
Okay. I'm gonna give you that. I'm gonna give y'all that. Go on.
James, here's the question.
James speak, man.
Yeah, I want him to answer my question. No, I want y'all to answer my question. Here's the question. We know what Haney did in this fight. What the fuck did Regis do?
He got shut down.
Yeah.
He got shut down. There's no question about it. And you know what? It's not that Regis didn't. It's that Haney did. He was faster. He was sharper. He was more aggressive. He
wasn't allowed to do anything. That's when you're a great boxer. When he
stepped in the box and ruled that fight. He ruled the ring.
So maybe
the shutout.
So maybe could it be the talent was more to Haney's favor than Regis?
We've ever seen. At 135, he was good. Here, he's great. And I don't mind using the word great here. You don't hear.
Sakura, answer that question for me, because James just did.
Hang on.
I answered in the very beginning. I started by saying nobody can take away Haney's skill and the way he looked in that fight. But that does not mitigate that we want to see him against people where he's not considered like the strong, like the bigger of the two opponents. I want to see him. It's like I want to see him fight people that are more his, what's the word? Physique. The more like, and I feel like it's gonna make Haney even stronger when he goes to 147.
She basically saying Haney needs to pick on somebody his own damn size. Okay, that's
what y'all are saying. Look, that's not the case.
Look, Rob, I don't care what you say, Rob. I picked Haney too, but he was clearly bigger. He was bigger in the weigh-in.
He was more talented. He was more talented.
I'm gonna mute you again, Rob.
Let Lucas speak. Let him speak.
I'm gonna mute you again. Look, last week, right? I said he was gonna control the range. Haney controlled the range. I said it was a bad stylistic matchup, and apparently that was to the extreme. Now, I didn't even think it was going to be that bad. Okay, he dog walked Prograis. Prograis didn't win a round. He didn't do anything of significance. I mean, that fight was completely Haney's. But I also said that this fight's kind of tailor-made. Like it was stylistically, he's just gonna play into Haney's hands. He was supposed to look good. If he looked bad in this fight, then Haney's just not gonna be good at all. This is going to set the stage now, though, for what Haney's capable of. I think he was supposed to look good. So really, this fight is just what it was. I'm gonna leave it at that because honestly, I don't think this fight proves much for Haney, and it doesn't even really say that anything bad about Prograis. It's just a pure technical boxer like that. Prograis needs to stay far, far away from. Anybody who can control the range and has that big of a range and reach advantage over him, that is a bad idea, right?
But get this, what I didn't like, I love Prograis. Everybody knows it. But what I didn't like is Haney not finishing him when he could have several times when he was hurt. I didn't understand that logic there.
That's true. Let's read that comment, and then we're gonna talk about that. Steve Alexander says you cannot throw Prograis under the bus for one fight, just like I cannot throw Errol under the bus for his loss to Crawford. Time will tell about Haney. Let's see Haney fight Crawford. I don't know we're there just yet, but in the future, that would be a good fight to watch. Now, Sakura brought up an interesting question. Go ahead and repeat that for me.
I just didn't understand why Haney didn't go ahead and try to finish Prograis, because Prograis was hurt a few times. We all saw it, and he didn't try to. He didn't have that killer instinct with him.
Didn't try.
I don't understand what that logic was about, because
it's not. There's no logic there. He's not failing to try. He was trying to finish him and couldn't.
I don't know.
I don't think so. I really saw him like
he took a step back. Yeah, I think he recognized several times that he was hurt and did not rush. I think he was being smart. I think he knew really that's Prograis' only fucking shot. Like, he's gonna run in there and get caught with something. I think he played it smart, stayed on the outside, took his time.
Well, that's a complete contradiction.
I mean, for me, I just thought
you're right, James. Tell him you're right.
They were still fearful of Regis's power. Maybe they were still fearful that he might land something if he got inside the way that Prograis wanted him to. But when you got a fighter hurt, you gotta. I mean, to me, it's like you gotta go like you gotta do something. You gotta try to make it, convincing. That's what would have topped that fight off. Is
no.
You're answering no question.
Hold on.
He's Regis Prograis is possible, potentially going to come back with a good punch and turn the tide. I think that answers it. He played it smart. He played it smart and kept his distance and was winning going away or running away, and decided to play it that way. And that, I think, answers your question.
Kind of. It's borderline.
No,
there's
right.
a borderline between very smart strategic plan and I could get this guy out of here, but I'm putting myself at risk of possibly losing, so I'm just going to stay this path. He chose the safe route. He did not want to go for any KO.
There's no wrong. There's no wrong answer if he did that.
Go ahead, James.
A lot of people have been knocked out, trying to go for the kill, and it happens.
Not wrong.
We saw that in the weekend with Robiesi Ramirez. But the idea is that there's one thing about Haney's corner. They did everything right. That's why they got this victory, and that's why they're 12-0 or 12 rounds to 0, I should say. That's why it's a shutout, because they played their cards. They played them well. They did everything they were supposed to do. They prepped well. The conditioning was there. Everything was there. So hats off to Bill Haney. But the fact that he could have gotten him out and he didn't go for it, he just didn't. He didn't have a chance.
He didn't have
guys,
to.
I'm not saying he has to. Clearly, he did not have to. We're talking that he was impressive, right? However, Haney's not really the most marketable guy. I think you maybe knock a guy out like Regis Prograis. I think your worth shoots up. So little risk, little reward. So yes, he got a win. He could have capped it off with a big exclamation point, and he missed out on an opportunity. Am I saying he should have went for that? If I'm his coach, fuck no. I'm going to tell, just like Papa Haney told him, you stay safe. You keep him at range. You don't make any mistakes. Be flawless. And that's what Haney was. Flawless.
I'm sorry.
Damn round.
A lot of boxers that when they see they got somebody hurt, they got that killer instinct. You think Bud going to have somebody hurt like that and he ain't going for it? He ain't going to give a damn what.
Haney is not a Bud Crawford, though.
But I'm just saying,
Bud is different.
The boxers that's got killer instincts, they going for that. They going for it regardless.
Bud is different. And I agree with you, Shakura, but Haney's not that fighter. He's not. If that's the case, he would have knocked out Kambosa. He doesn't. He doesn't. If that was the case, he would have knocked out Kambosa. When he did try to put on the gas against Lomachenko, he got hurt. He got hurt when he fought Lomachenko. He got hurt. Haney's not that type of fighter. He didn't go for the knockout.
Well,
he didn't need to.
He's chinning? What you trying to say?
Haney is like Floyd. Floyd. He's a technical fighter. He doesn't need the knockouts.
That's kind of scary because he kind of took that out of my mouth. That's a little scary. I'm worried for me and you now, Rob.
You didn't answer my question though.
Oh, sorry. What's your question, Shakur?
Do you believe that Haney is chinny or not?
The defense won't allow us to see that. The defense was great there.
I'm just asking you yes or no question. Do you think he is or not?
We can answer that.
I can answer that. I think I can. I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say this for one simple reason. I think you really kind of generally make your style around a weakness, right? And I think Haney's good and masterful at keeping the range. Arguably one of the things he does best in boxing. And he has that jab. I don't, keeping him away from him and his defense, that's what he does best. We've already seen him get hurt by Linares and by weaker punchers. And this is an old Linares. Imagine a fucking prime Linares. Come on now. We think he's chinny. I don't even think we can think he's chinny. I think we can now say we know that he may be a little chinny. Now that was also down in weight. Hold on. That was also down in weight where he was straining and draining.
Exactly.
So now he might have a little bit better punch resistance at this higher weight. We're gonna have to wait and see.
That's what I don't know because I feel like he was doing a lot of draining, and that's less protection on the brain when that fluid it hasn't had time to rehydrate fully. So, I think that might have came into play. Do we know if that actually is the case now? We don't know. However, we know that he don't want to find out at this weight class either.
The difference that I would weight this on would be the performance that he puts together versus Shakur Stevenson. Shakur Stevenson is obviously worried about his chin because he doesn't engage enough in those fights, and it's all about defense. The other comparison you make against it is, again, back to Floyd. Everybody thought Floyd was chinny, and he took great shots against Sugar Shane Mosley and another one against Zab Judah, and the chin held up. The difference is that when you're at the Floyd level, you don't get to see if they're chinny or not because the defense and offense are a great combination. You don't see it.
I mean, I would say Floyd is chinny. The thing I'm saying that, and the reason I'm saying that is he doesn't get hit cleanly enough to really even see how chinny he is.
When he
built his style around his weakness. If you have a chin like granite, you get a Gennady Golovkin. If you have a chin that's crap, you get a Devin Haney. Like that's basically how this works out. You don't have granite chins boxing like Floyd Mayweather. It does not happen.
That's a wrong comparison. Just because they don't get hit in the chin don't mean that they don't have a chin. You just don't get to see it. Again, you got to go back to Shakur Stevenson, who's not willing.
I'm not saying it's a glass chin.
Not willing to engage because they're scared of getting hit. I don't see that with Devin Haney.
You're misinterpreting. Okay.
No, you are.
No, you are.
You're interpreting the fact that they got good defense, so they don't get hit. That they don't have a chin.
That's not what I said. I said weak spot, right? Chinny is different for everybody, right? So your chin is obviously there's a granite chin, then you got a glass chin. In no way am I saying that he's a glass chin, right? Haney or Mayweather. But I'm simply saying as far as the rest of their boxing repertoire is concerned, the chin might be one of the worst things that he has. Right? That's all I'm saying.
I mean, if
So-
you gotta survive, even if you get hit with a punch and it does buzz you, but you still survive it, then it's not like you were knocked out completely or whatever.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you had some recovery that you were able to accomplish. And they say a lot of that has to do with your, training regimen, whether, how much punishment you can actually take. But I just feel like this is a great segue for Claressa Shields.
For sure. Anybody else want to say anything else on this topic before we change?
Super quick.
Go ahead.
Nobody thought that this would be a dog walk, as you called it, Lucas. Nobody. A 12-0, a shutout. Nobody. Everybody is shocked. The world is shocked on this one. He got shut down. Prograis got shut down pretty bad here, and I like me some Prograis. Shutout. He did not land one good solid punch in a fight. Prograis did not land one good solid punch. That's shocking.
He didn't get the opportunity to. He tried, but he couldn't.
Closing, I just want to say, I don't think we've seen the best Haney there is. I think at 147 he's going to be shockingly faster and stronger.
Yeah, I think that too. That's why I said I'm ready to see him face some opposition at 147.
And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
I'm looking forward to him moving up again too already, but I still, there's a lot of people at 140. A lot of people at 140.
Teofimo, can you say Teofimo Lopez 140?
I mean, I love to see it. I don't know.
He got to get his shit together first.
I don't see Haney sticking around to 140. I feel like he still would feel more comfortable at 147, especially like making the weight and stuff. I really feel like he ain't gonna stick around. It's good enough for him. Like he got undisputed at 135. I don't think he's going for undisputed at 140. He's already a 2-division champion now.
I think if he does it, he's gonna be called a duck. I mean, there's a lot of names and a lot of people that he needs to at least acknowledge. You know what I mean? Like there's a slew of people waiting in line to fight Haney. I don't think anybody's really running from a Haney fight. If anything, they're running to it. And that doesn't say anything necessarily bad about Haney, but
right.
I'm looking forward to see what he can do. But I really hope he doesn't just skip over all these names. I mean, it's kind of reminiscent of what Bronner did. He looked at 140 and was like, "Fuck that! I'm going to 147."
Well,
right.
I want to see him actually fight at 140.
I'd like to see him fight Subriel Matias. See how that goes.
That would be good. That'd be a good fight. But stylistically,
dangerous fight.
Haney might be able to keep him off. That's a big question. It kind of plays again stylistically into Haney's hands, though. Let's talk now about this Claressa Shields sparring video leak and discussion. I did also send everybody in the group another video now where Claressa Shields is also calling out Raleigh Romero. Has she gone off the deep end? Let's talk a little bit about it, guys.
The first video you're speaking on of her getting knocked down, that was one video. Okay, and some people had a problem with the fact that it was a man fighting a woman. I was trying to explain how a lot of women in gyms don't have another female to fight. Oftentimes they fight and they spar. They spar males. That doesn't mean that the male is trying to truly, give them everything, because they don't even, when two men are sparring, generally speaking, they're not trying to knock each other out either. Like it's supposed to be for you to work on certain things, certain points, certain punches. It's not meant for you to go in there and just brawl somebody and sparring. We do know some fighters that do still like to do that, but the point is that it's not out of the ordinary to see a female sparring a male in that way, because that is like, mostly what the women have at their have access to in their training. But I just feel like the second video, I mean, she's explaining what happened and how that ended up happening, that she got knocked down by this guy. I don't know whether that's true or not. It sounded like she believes what she's saying. And then we heard some rebuttals to that. But the point is, that Claressa is in a situation where I don't necessarily think that video that she made explaining things, if she'd have just kept it at explaining that, it would have been okay with me. But then when she started talking about Rolly and then him and Keith need to fight each other and they don't have skills and I can fight them, all this other stuff that went along with the video, I kind of just kind of zoned out on it. You know what I'm saying? Because it wasn't realistic for me. That they're never going to approve of female fighting men. Yeah. So it just seemed like that was like, where she just went off on the tangent about how she feels like her skill level is superior to those two boxers, which is fine that you do. But it just seemed like if you wanted to make the video and you said you had the video that was going to say, you said that the video was going to explain how that ended up happening. But she felt like her reputation was put out there, in a negative light by this video surfacing after 5 years. No. And, my point is like, yeah, why would he wait 5 years to go ahead and release this video or have it leaked or whatever? What's the motive behind that? But also just to say, if it is true that someone would deliberately put on gloves because they got kind of salty that she was a female that was outpointing him in sparring, then that's something that the community should be addressing. The boxing community should be outraged if that is what really happened. So, I just feel like that would be not only scary for a female, but also scary for men sparring other men if they have, sabotage gloves right. For their benefit. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not cool no matter how. Yeah. No matter cool how it is. But I'm not good with women sparring men. I understand, like you were saying, Sakura, kind of is a have to thing, not a want to thing. It's I got nothing else. You know what I mean?
It is what it is. Yeah.
But the problem is there's a lot of dudes in boxing, especially you get that ego and the machismo flowing, and you land a good one, and a man's may just go beast mode on you. Right. It's a very unsafe environment, I think, for any woman to go in there and do. But Claressa's also running her mouth too, which doesn't make it better. It makes it worse and scarier.
I just need a disclaimer, Lucas. Now, the disclaimer is when they get to a certain level and they can afford to bring in females to their camps and stuff, then they do. But before that point, you're basically out there on your own, dog. You're trying to like get that sparring in wherever you can.
Yeah. And who knows whether he took out the padding or not? I mean, that's all either hearsay.
Old gloves, period. It could just be that he put on some older gloves which really should have been retired out.
And it could have been just a quick left hook that dropped her, and she was embarrassed and had to say something real quick, and that's what she came up with.
But she's saying that the other male boxer that sparred the same guy had a similar thought and had a similar experience. So
why would anyone dock their gloves in sparring?
Yeah. She's accusing him of being butthurt from a previous sparring session.
Right.
And then on this session, he came with like gloves with no pad in it, or at least less padding.
She's saying that he got embarrassed because the boxer was a Russian boxer. They with the machismo. It's not cool for you to get schooled by a female. So she's saying that that's what transpired, and in return, this is how he kind of retaliated back. But
it's scary, yeah. I mean, because what if he was letting her work, and like we're talking about, holding back, pulling punches, letting her work, and then all of a sudden, Claressa Shields got some machismo of her own. She likes to talk. She likes to talk back, and you get under male skin. That's all it takes. That's another reason why I just don't like it. I mean, I think she's putting herself out there. She's putting herself in danger. I think she really needs to stop talking, period, about fighting men. Let's just stop that. You can be the greatest woman, and that should be enough. You don't need to fight men.
I mean, it's not a big jump to say that she can have better skills than some men. That doesn't mean you should be fighting them, though.
I mean, skills you could have. The problem again is the power.
Like, we're not taking that away from her.
Yeah.
Right.
Look, I'm the wrong person to ask this question for, okay? Because I wrestled in high school. One time we had a girl on the team. She outweighed me by 40 pounds. Coach didn't have anybody to match me up with, so he put me on her, and I won. And you guaranteed I celebrated in front of everybody.
In true Rob fashion.
Horrible.
She outweighed me by 40 pounds, okay? I thought I was a heavyweight champion that
I think this discussion needs to happen. But it's basically what we've been saying. Men and women are just different biologically, okay?
Right.
They don't belong in the same ring, right? We're talking about in everything else, it's separate. You have WNBA, you have the NBA. In golf, they get to hit closer. There's reasons for all this, right? Biologically, we're just different. Women don't hit as hard as men. Not saying that some women can't outpunch another guy. I'm not saying women can't outpunch me. Shit, I don't know. I haven't met every single woman that also weighs my same weight. So who can say? All I'm saying is
women back in the day, like Ada Velez, Puerto Rican female unified champion back in the day. They said that she had superior power. Chevelle Hallback, also known for power. I mean, they laid some men out in their day when they was sparring these guys.
And one person we mentioned earlier, I damn sure don't want to get hit by, is Ann Wolfe. Okay, I don't want no fucking part of that. She would knock my ass out.
There you go. Like,
but Claressa Shields just needs to stop. She gets awful over the top with some things, and I think Raleigh Romero, there's some big insults there. You need to calm down and talk about the women. You know what I mean? You're talking about the men, and you need to keep it in your division, in your lane. Nobody sits here in the men division talking about the women fighters like, oh, she ain't shit. Like, no, let's not do that. Let's not do that. That's going to put you in a bad light. I think all of this has put Claressa in a bad light.
I don't think it necessarily puts her in a bad light. I just think that, it's just, if she'd have just explained the sparring session and what she, thought transpired, that would have been great. But the rest of it is like, a little bit of Rowley must have said some things about her, and she's pissed with him. So she started going off on what he was saying. And so, it's a little bit of machismo in there too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it snowballed on her, and I think it looked bad. If she just kept it with, I schooled him earlier in the week. He came back and he caught me with that. If she just left it at that, that's good. But then she got to add the removing, and then she went in on Raleigh and that whole thing, and she kind of like just snowballed this effect that I think it turned bad for her.
But I like what she said at one point, which is she learned her lesson from that experience, and she always checks whoever she's sparring. Now, female or male, she checks those gloves before they go into sparring. And that is a great tip for all boxers to be using.
That's true.
Check these guys' gloves, check these females' gloves. Like, let's keep this sport clean. Sparring is a major reason why we have some injuries in the actual fights, because they have already received injuries in the sparring sessions. And then they get in and have a professional fight with already, like a concussion already. So we have to be mindful with this sparring that people need to take the precautions, and those gloves are on for a reason.
That's true.
I think that she's just feeling overshadowed with all the other additional activity that we've seen in boxing with Katie Taylor and Cameron and Franchon, Dezurn, Crews, and blah, 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 and Serrano and everything. She's just feeling overshadowed and making noise.
It's hard not to be. I mean,
she needs to fight.
She
needs to fight. Let's see her fight.
Now, but I was thinking it's a bad week for her to be, making so much noise.
They do things to keep their name in the game. They've been doing it forever. Yeah. And this is all irrelevant, but here we are talking about it because it's going on Twitter or Instagram or whatever it is,
right,
putting up all this shit, and it's irrelevant.
Right. I mean, I didn't like the strategy of it, where it's like it's coming out on the fight week of Shadasia Green versus Franchon Crews, where we want their attention to be on their fight week. But I don't think it's to her benefit for that video to be leaked of her getting knocked out by a man. I don't think that she would be wanting to,
always make
that out here.
They don't always make the best decisions. They're not marketers, they're boxers. But you know what? That brings a point up real quick. With marketing products, it's first to market, and in boxing, it's first to mind, and they all want mind share. And Floyd Mayweather was a king when it came to mind share. Some of these guys just don't know how to do it. And here's a really, really good example of how not to do it. And that's getting whooped against someone who is a male fighter in a sparring match. And for all I know, and for all we know, it could have all been staged for the same purpose.
Maybe. And that's also why Floyd did not allow recording in the gym.
Right. The sparring sessions were closed. Old school trainers are still that way. They not with this whole video and your sparring BS, period. That's like a big no-no for many reasons.
The only person I would allow to film in there, or video with the cell phone or whatever you want to call it, is someone who's part of the gym to do it for educational purposes.
Right.
So
your trainer,
your charge, and say, this is what you need to work on. Yeah. Look at your feet, look at your hands, look at your posture here, look at all these different things, and use that for their educational, as educational purposes. That's it. All the other clowns that are standing in there to post shit, the fuck out.
Unfortunately, you have these people that come in, boxers, and they want to be like, I hurt Belanga, or I hurt, whoever. You know what I'm saying? They got that in their mind when they're invited in to spar. And so instead of it being the sparring in order to learn a specific skill set, it ends up being like some moment where they can like say they were better than this person, or they had their way with that person for bragging rights. So you have to you have to be careful about who you invite in to spar with you too.
Very true.
Yeah, I got you, Amanda. Yeah, I weigh me about 40 pounds, but I won. I got
you. This weekend we also have Sandor Martin. He's fighting on ESPN Plus. We got Jesse Bam Rodriguez versus Sonny Edwards.
That one right there. That fight there. That's a sleeper fight. People are not talking about that fight.
It's because it's the flyweight, right, Rob? right, Rob? As a
Flyweight.
flyweight.
It is
I actually
flyweight.
like Bam. He's got a high KO ratio. I like Bam.
And then we
Okay,
also got
okay.
David Morrell versus Sina Agbeko as well. So
That's
Well,
right.
that was on Showtime.
That is the last Showtime fight.
all right.
I think
so-
everybody should tune in. Watch the last Showtime fight, okay? I definitely turned in for the last HBO one. We should definitely turn in for the last Showtime one.
Somebody mentioned Bam Rodriguez. He's fighting Sonny Edwards, WBO IBF flyweight.
Yeah, that's the one we were talking about. That's the one I said is a sleeper
Okay.
fight.
That's not ESPN. That's DAZN, and that's in Arizona. So that's Pacific time, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, no, the
I
other
thought
one
Bam
was
Rodriguez
ESPN.
there. There's
That's
a
gonna be a nice fight right there. They're gonna be at it.
okay.
They
So
gonna be at it.
I agree, but the next fight, the undercard is Murodjon Akhmadaliev. So MJ Akhmadaliev, damn good fighter there. He's fighting someone named Kevin Gonzalez, WBA junior featherweight eliminator. And moving down that line, the last one I see is really that deserves any mention. That would be it. Just that Yafai is fighting on that same card. But then you go back to the one you mentioned is David Morrell versus Sina Agbeko. And the next fight below that is Chris Colbert versus anybody? Jose Valenzuela rematch.
Yeah, that's a rematch.
Wait, though. Skip down on that. Robert Guerrero versus Andre Berto? What in the fucking shit is that?
First of all,
what is this? The Flame Mayweather loser bracket? What is that?
I'm looking forward to that fight, Lucas. That's the biggest fight on my agenda
This is
this
for
weekend.
bragging rights, Lucas. That's for bragging rights.
Go Andre Berto.
Y'all know me. I call a turd a turd. I don't watch that shit.
It's for bragging rights, Lucas. Come on.
Ain't no bragging rights to that.
It is.
Ladies and gentlemen, that fight I'm hearing is big sponsored by Ben Gay. Go out there and get your Ben Gay.
I thought it
Put
was
it on your ligaments, your joints, and your arthritis pain.
I thought
That
it
was terrible.
All right. Well, thank you all for tuning in. It's been a great show. Don't forget to check us out every Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. As always, we don't pull any punches, and we'll see you again next week.